Guys, Unity's new CEO is doing the song and dance for the big time financial news, and it's not terrible, but it's definitely not happening. This is a cow's opinion, and I still do not have a catchphrase, but I want to do instead of working towards a catchphrase. And man, speaking of working, I really like to work towards some dinner, but first we have to do this because the new CEO of Unity has been pitching that things are different after a very rough year. We have covered that very rough year, and it's very, very important that we keep up with this because the games industry, as we all know, is going through a lot of turmoil, changes. 13,000 odd developers have been let go from their jobs, probably more. We just don't know them yet. And it sucks because, everyone thought during the global pandemic that the massive gains in the video game industry were sustainable, and they were not. People go play less video games so we can go outside and high-five each other. I don't understand why all these tech companies didn't understand it. They're not very good. But guys, Matt Bromberg is the new CEO of Unity, and as we covered previously on this channel, Unity tried to roll out new pricing for their engine, whereas instead of paying based on the number of licenses you had or what products you bought from them, they were going to charge you per install. Now, what's the problem with that? Well, first of all, if you're a mobile game, that's not good for you because lots of people will install your game for all of like an hour, if that, and then never play it again, and you're not getting money off of them, but you're still having to pay that fine. They also said stuff like it would be retroactive, so all of their contracts were not going to count against it. And there were big problems. People were asking, well, what if somebody buys the game and installs it on the home PC, but also installs it on the laptop so that they can have it when they go on a trip? And they were told, well, that will count as 2 installs. So the company made one sale, but they were going to pay the fee twice for that. There was a lot of abuse. Somebody easily in the forum pointed out, forget review bombing, if Unity does this, I'll just watch as companies that do stuff the gamers don't like, the gamers will, they'll buy the game the one time, uninstall and reinstall dozens of times, and bankrupt the company. And Unity's like, no, we'll use like software and stuff to track that. And it's like, well, wait a minute, you don't have user agreements to do that. How are you going to track that? And we'll figure it out later. We want the money now. Very, absolutely terrible. There was massive backlash. And a lot of game developers and stuff said, well, we're not going to use Unity anymore. Unity is like, it's okay. Your publishers like Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo will pay. And Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo said, no, we won't. You're an idiot. And so finally, they've had to walk back all these things. They've had to do like just traditional price increases, new products, new subscription models. The stuff that they probably should have done in the first place instead of trying to figure out how we can milk as much money out of this. And look, the actual developers of Unity were telling the corporate suits at the top, this plan sucks. No one who uses our product is going to be on board with this. But the lawyers and the officers at the top and the accountants at the top, it's the problem with the corporations. When you don't have the people who are actually passionate for the product or the service that you provide running the company, they will do things that are not company and user friendly. So this past Friday, they've announced the 6th version of Unity Engine. That's their flagship product to produce games across devices, including the iPhones and the Androids, which are everywhere. Now, it emphasizes stability, predictable updates, and the ability to support hundreds of players in the same virtual world at the same time. It's pretty good for a mobile game. It's also seeking to rebound from that dark period that's included the layoffs, the losses, and the troubled relationship with many customers and their shakeup at the top. And I almost forgot to mention this. I apologize. This is Keith Leswing here on CNBC. Well, big-time news now, guys. Big-time news. No disrespect made to Video Games Chronicle, Inside Game. They do fantastic work. But this is a financial thing, and that means that you've really screwed up when the actual financial markets have noticed this stuff. With the release of Unity 6, we're interested in reconnecting with customers and help them understand that it is our commitment to deliver what matters to them, that we're going to be a fundamentally different company in that regard. Now, Bromberg is no stranger to the industry, because he was appointed this past May. He was Chief Operating Officer of Zynga, which makes every mobile game you probably know, which was acquired by Take-Two in 2022 and has spent 4 years at EA. It's not a bad pedigree for a CEO. Now, his predecessor, the moronic John Russatelio, had to announce his retirement last October, 1 year ago, after the aforementioned controversial pricing change that frustrated developers. Yeah, they were probably like voodoo dolls, burning him in effigy, pitchforks and torches at the gate of Unity headquarters. They were not happy. James Whitehurst, who was the former CEO of Red Hat, was the interim CEO until Bromberg joined in May. And of course, his first big challenge was unwinding Russatelio's decision to implement what became known as the Unity Runtime Fee. Now, again, it was traditionally you sell the software by the seat, so companies paid an annual fee per users. If I have 100 developers, I buy 100 licenses, and that's how much I spend for Unity for the year. But in September, companies said that they would stop paying a flat fee anytime the Apple game using Unity was downloaded. Developers rebelled and threatened to find alternative games. They didn't just threaten, guys. I don't know. A lot of other games are coming out on a lot of engines or in-house engines. They're not happy. And last month, they scrapped the fee. Engine 6 is going to cost $2,200 per year for companies with a revenue of more than $200,000. And negotiating pricing is available for the larger customers. It will also raise prices on a predictable annual schedule. So, look, no one likes to pay prices, but at least this is a little bit more obvious and not something that can be abused. We're saying to our customers, hey, this is something you can build your multi-billion-dollar game business on. It's used to build the majority of mobile games, including Monopoly Go. Monopoly Go has grossed $3 billion? Are you freaking kidding me? Man, you guys play a lot of stuff on. I was a fake Grand Order player for years and years. But wow, people pay for anything, huh? Now, this goes beyond the business model. The stock is down 23% over the last year and has lost 90% of the value since peaking in 2021. That's not good. Now, some of that 90%, again, the games industry was overpriced and overhiring. And for the second quarter, they had a net loss, that means full loss, of $125 million. I wish I could have $125 million over a 3-month period and be okay, guys. This channel's for fun. You may not have noticed there ain't no thrills or giveaways or anything here. We can't afford it. I got a day job to keep the lights on while I'm having fun with you. And in January, it was going to cut a quarter of its workforce, 1,800 jobs and I hate when they do this because in 3 to 5 years, they're going to need those 1,800 jobs back. But because they screwed up, to be profitable for the shareholders and the stock market and the finance guys short term, you got to get rid of people that you're going to need sooner rather than later. And it's disgusting. Now, the company has maintained its strength. Morgan Stanley said in September that the game industry still has 70% of the mobile market. How deep its moats truly are, as competitors have been unable to gain share at Unity's expense. Now, let's be clear about that. A lot of mobile games are flash-in-the-pan hype things. They're like big for a month or two. To have something like a gacha game that lasts a long time or an online RPG that lasts a long time, you're few and far between. So it's only been a year, and most of the big games from last year are still the big mobile games this year that are not just, 1 to 3 months, everyone's playing it, then it goes really low. So I will be interested to know in another year or another 2 years, does Unity still have that 70% mobile market? Because I feel like that might be misleading. Unity is staying away from the generative artificial intelligence hype because game developers are skeptical of generative AI because it has to, that's what it is. It has to generate from something, and they say it rips off work from other artists and represents lower cost competition. They're not wrong. It's generative AI. It's not like the AI in science fiction, guys. Cannot think for itself. It can only do what you teach it to do. Like, I can learn how to ride a bike without anyone teaching me. It's hard, but I can do it. The computer cannot generate game design without you teaching it examples of game design, but in which case, it's not creating new ones, it's just giving you rehashes of the stuff it already has, or it's combining them into something that's at least different, but it's not great. We're less excited about making investments in generative AI, says Bromberg, and instead they're going to be using AI-created artwork and character designs and use AI behind the scenes to speed up the release of a game. He also wants to simplify the company's push into the enterprise. The game engine can be used for all kinds of 3D simulations, including digital twins, a buzzword that describes creating a full digital simulation of a complicated operation. I've seen this, actually. I work for a big healthcare system, and it's something that larger companies are starting to do, which is if you want to test and see how something goes, you have your digital twin. And for example, for a hospital system with multiple hospitals and tons of other buildings, I think that we should move the heart patients from the second floor of the main campus to the sixth floor. And move stuff around like this. How does that affect flow? And you do that, and it would generate examples and give you, the cardio patients are going to be upset, but the other patients are going to have an easier time getting there. But it turns out that you also have to redo your supply route because the supplies don't get where you need to go. It's actually kind of cool. So really, when we build factories and stuff on this channel, it's like that. 2 Point Campus. 2 Point Campus is a game we play, but 2 Point Museum this spring. I'm looking forward to it. Our strategy going forward is to be focused a little bit more narrowly on the organic use of our engine in industry. It comes down to 3D visualization, because now it's more about games. He remains optimistic about virtual reality and augmented reality, including the Apple's Vision Pro headset, which is supported by Unity 6. The real strength of Unity is we take really big, immersive experiences that are created in our engine, then you can distribute them on any device, no matter how light it is. The world's worst phone, a set of glasses, a headset. And that's the end of the article. Unity is a mess internally right now. Yeah. 66-cent loss. So, one last thing before we wrap it up about the AI stuff. Gamers don't like virtual reality. It's a really cool thing to have or play on a really short thing, but nobody's going to want to play God of War in virtual reality. It's just not as fun. There's a reason we have big screens and controllers and other stuff to help augment stuff. It takes up less room and it's less strenuous and all kinds of stuff. So, guys, what is the cow's opinion? Well, Unity is going through some changes. God, they feel so frustrated lately. I'm sorry. But no. I got that song in my head now. But in all seriousness, just to try to keep it lighthearted, last year, as we report on the channel, Unity made the stupidest thing. They forgot that the customers don't exist to give them money and buy their product. They exist to make a product that pleases and serves their customers. And I know that doesn't sound different, but as somebody who's been privileged to work for the same employer for a while, let me tell you something. The companies that continue to take market share are the ones that understand that difference. Unity was doing the first thing, not the second thing. They will figure how much money can we squeeze out of people. Because I guarantee you, those Unity runtime fees were not about, they did nothing to provide a better service for their customers, to help make better games for you to buy. The only thing the Unity runtime fee was for, it's in the name, it was for Unity to collect additional fees. How do we do the same amount of work and get paid a lot more money for it? Had all these morons drooling. And then it had them screaming in pain as the stock price dropped. And companies said, okay, we're going to finish the games that we've got on Unity. And then we're never using Unity again. And all new projects will be internal engines, or there's lots of other engines, guys. Unity does have a huge share. Doesn't mean that they're not the only viable option in town. And in the article, Morgan Stanley talked about they still got 70% of the market. I would love a little more explanation of that. Because, again, the biggest games on cell phones stick around for a long time. So if last year's games are the top 10 are pretty much the same, that's why Unity is the same. There's lots of flash in the pan mobile games that get really big for a while and then go away. If Unity's the one running most of the games, it's going to be another couple of years before they lose that market. I hope that they get it right. But I mean, it sounds like they do, because they're going back to more traditional pricing and relationships with their customers. And I don't want 1,800 people lost their jobs because of this garbage. To put it, I was going to say a four-letter word, but let's keep it, user friendly for the YouTube algorithm. 1,800 people lost their jobs because a handful of idiots at the top said, I could use a bigger bonus and a bigger house. How do I squeeze money out of this instead of actually working harder? And that's what they did, guys. That's what they did. I don't like it. You should probably not like it. You can let me know in the comments below how much you hated it. It's going to be another couple of years. As we covered in the article, Unity had a loss of $125 million. It was down 23% over the past year, 90% since peaking during the global pandemic, which was a year after the IPO. 125 million, 1,800 jobs. These are not insignificant numbers, man. That's a quarter of your workforce, which means you've got 5,000 other jobs approximately remaining. And are you 5,400, I think? My brain is fried. It was a long day at work. And I don't want 5,400 people to lose their jobs because of these idiots. Okay? I want Unity to be good. And I hope they've learned their lesson. And I hope that any other people in the games or the tech industry that were considering something as dumb as the Unity runtime fee, because the runtime fee runs you out of business, guys. It ain't that hard. But apparently it is for them. You can let me know in the comments down below. Like, comment, and subscribe to the video, guys. It really helps the channel as we just been treading for the last while, and it's a channel for fun. I don't mind that too much. I know that the fun videos, the video game videos, are a little slow. We are waiting on Mario and Luigi Brothership as well as Dragon Quest HD 2D Remake. We'll be playing both of those games. I think we're going to have some fun adventures, but you know what else we can have? We can play more games, because games are awesome. Hopefully Unity becomes awesome again, and you deserve awesome. You work too hard for your money to have it screwed up by these idiots. See you next time. Make Unity awesome again. MUAA. What? I'm going to make those. That's going to be my first shirt. Mwah. Make Unity awesome again. I'm not going to waste money on that shirt. No.